Volatile weekend in the market as Bitcoin pulls back significantly and some altcoins see 50% retracements from the highs they put in last month. So in this video, I'm going to be taking a look at key levels we need to keep an eye on for Bitcoin and Ethereum, and also take a look at the argument for why altcoins may well have put in a local bottom and could be seeing high prices going into and out of the halving. So let's get straight into it. Bitcoin on the higher time frames, a quick recap of what we've been looking at on this channel for the past few weeks. So Bitcoin on the weekly time frame, we were looking good a couple of weeks ago when we had that weekly candle close above 69k, previous all-time highs, held it as support the following week. However, last week, even going into the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, we were looking good, up about 72.5k, looking for new all-time highs. However, that was short-lived. We had that real bad pullback on Friday, and then the selling continued on Saturday due to the conflict in the Middle East. However, the weekly candle close was pretty good. You can see we managed to wick up from 61.6k and close above 65.5k, that weekly level, which is also the 236 on the fib. So I've been talking about this the past few weeks. If we've got a candle close below 65.5k, we'd likely see 60k. Weekly candle close below 60k, we'd likely see 52. However, as I say, we have managed to close above 65.5k last week. We'll see how this week goes. Not a great start to the week so far. We had a pretty decent rally in the early hours of the morning. However, we've pulled back a little bit in the UK trading session. We'll see how the US market session goes. Of course, I'm recording this about an hour before the US market open. When you're watching this, the US session will be well underway. So we'll see what surprises that brings when the traditional markets open up and digest what happened over the weekend. Let's get into the daily time frame. So, as I say, Friday and Saturday, the big dump days, nice little recovery yesterday. However, the levels we need to keep an eye on. First trouble area for me is this 68k area, daily level of previous support and resistance, as you can see. Not only that, but if we chuck a fib from the top down to the bottom, you can see we've got that 618 coming in at about 68.5k. And then if we add the EMA 21 as well, I know it looks a little bit messy, but you can see that lines up with that daily level of around 68k. So anywhere between 68 and 68.5k could be a bit of a trouble area as the week goes on if we continue this rally. Let's move on to Ethereum then. Higher time frame, weekly time frame, and again a favorable close on the weekly time frame for Ethereum as well. Managed to hold that 3063 weekly level, which is the 382 on the fib as well, even though we wicked quite a bit deeper than we did from back in March, whereas Bitcoin actually managed to put in a higher wick than what we did at the same time. So Ethereum with a much stronger recovery so far. We'll see if that lasts. Let's go down to the daily time frame. And you can see this was the daily level we were hoping to hold last week. However, as you can see, big dump on Friday, close below, bearish retest on Saturday, dump lower. However, we have now recovered, and now we're looking at trying to break this level of resistance, try and reclaim this level, and then should see higher prices. However, this is a obvious trouble area as well. If we grab the fib, go from the highs to the lows, you can see it's the 0.5 on the fib. And if we grab the EMA 21 as well, you can see that just above that, the EMA 21 lines up with the 618, which comes in at about 3,395. So they're the trouble areas for Ethereum. First objective, get a daily close above this 3,300 area, then try and reclaim the 618 and the EMA 21, and then we should be good for higher prices. However, there is a potential that this is a danger area for a lower high. So we'll see how it goes. Let's move on to Bitcoin dominance and ETH BTC. So if we go to the monthly time frame, something I've been talking about on this channel for the past couple of weeks, let's get rid of that EMA, don't need that, is the fact that this area of about 53-54% on Bitcoin dominance could be a potential top. However, we are now looking at breaking out. That being said, we have tapped this level of resistance here at 57%. And not only that, but ETH BTC does look like it may well be recovering faster than Bitcoin, as I mentioned earlier, with ETH having a better recovery. And you can see ETH 2.5% up on the day versus Bitcoin, which is only 0.5%. So there is a chance that maybe this was the final push on Bitcoin dominance, and now it's going to start rolling over, get a monthly close back below sort of 54-53%. Of course, this is an index, so TA should be taken with a large pinch of salt, but you can see this level has acted as has been respected as a level of previous support and resistance in the past. So potential top out here, roll over, and that's when the alt season will really begin, once we get Bitcoin dominance below 53-54%. If we then take a look at the ETH BTC chart, so as I've been talking about, ETH BTC needs to hold these monthly range lows. It managed it last month just about. You can see we are trading below it at the moment. However, still halfway through the month. We've still got time to recover and break this monthly bearish trend line. As you can see, if we go down to the weekly time frame, we did manage to hold these lows from back in January last week, as you can see. So was this the final capitulation on ETH BTC? Are we going to start to see this recover faster than BTC and alts go along with it? We will have to wait and find out, but at the moment it still looks pretty good as long as we don't lose these weekly lows here at 0.0479. Also, if we take a look at the total too, something else that I've been talking about on this channel for the last few weeks now, again, this is the total 2, which is an index of the total crypto market cap excluding BTC. So it is an index. It's not to be it's to be taken with a large pinch of salt when it comes to technical analysis. However, once again, this 940 billion level, clear level of support and resistance in the past, as well as this 1.265 trillion. I talked about this a few weeks ago about a potential cup and handle pattern forming on this time frame, and as you can see, it may well have already played out. We got that resistance here at 1.265 trillion, retraced last week, bounced off nicely from that 940 billion area. So now we could see a bit of consolidation for a few weeks before altcoins start to rally, which will of course push ETH BTC up, Bitcoin dominance down, and we may well finally see that alt season. Now, a couple of reasons to be cautious going into the next couple of weeks. Of course, I talked about this last week. We may well see a pullback on the equity. So S&P, as I talked about, may well pull back to this 382 level, previous all-time highs at 4818. You can see not looking too good on the monthly or on the weekly. Looks like it may well be rolling over and having that pullback. We talked about this, only about a 10% pullback from all-time highs, or 8% from all-time highs back to those previous all-time highs. So retracing some of this move, which has been an absolute steamroller over the past few months. So it wouldn't surprise me to see a bit of a pullback down and reset some of those indicators, etc., and grab some liquidity for another move higher. Same with the Nasdaq. If we go to the monthly again, it's about the same move, about 8-9%, as you can see. Pull back to the 382, previous all-time highs of 16,764. So there is a potential that that could happen and Bitcoin could follow the market down. As I say, we'll have to keep an eye on Bitcoin on the higher time frames. Any closes below the weekly levels of 65.5k and 60k, and we may well see 52. But for the moment, we are holding those levels. So let's see what happens. Let's get into some altcoins then, starting with ADA. So on the weekly time frame, what I've been talking about over the past few weeks is dollar cost averaging into these Fibonacci levels from the lows that we put in around January up to the highs that we put in around March. So as you can see, ADA fully retraced down to this important weekly level to hold, which I marked out a few weeks ago. Wick below down to about 40 cents. As you can see, we did manage to hold it on the weekly time frame, which is good. So a nice little dollar cost average order potentially there if you got in at 45 cents. Now we're looking to try and reclaim this level of 50 cents and start making our way back up. So as I say, dips are for buying in a bull market. Now it's gone a little bit deeper than I expected. I expected this 786 level to hold, which is around 50 cents. But of course, what happened over the weekend, you can't predict these sort of things. However, dips are for buying because, as we've seen, things do turn around very quickly. You don't want to try and pick the bottom. You want a dollar cost average in onto key levels of support, because eventually the market will turn, as we saw back in December and January. Pull back and then off we went. So whether this level will hold or not, we'll have to wait and see. It should do. If it doesn't, then that's not looking too good. However, I think this level will hold and we should reclaim 52 cents and then we should be on our way. And we might chop around for a little bit first, but that's what I'm looking at on ADA. BNB, incredible strength shown by BNB, as you can see. Wick down to the 382 at about $510 and zip back up. And as you can see, still holding the 236. So This is one of the examples I use to say why you have a small entry on each of the Fibonacci levels, because you don't know which or how strong each coin is going to be. And as you can see, BNB showing a lot more strength than the rest of the pairs that we're going to go through. Still holding that 236. You would have got a nice entry on that 382 if you had a limit order there around $500. In fact, we just take a look at that recovery. Not bad, 15% recovery on BNB and still looking very strong indeed. Of course, the important level for me to hold on BNB all the way down at 445. At this stage, it doesn't look like that's even going to get tested. So we'll see how it goes, but BNB looking very strong. We take a look at NEAR, again, showing more strength than ADA. You can see this weekly level of $5.76 held last week, having a bit of trouble holding it this week. We'll see how it goes, but a nice wick through the 618. We ended up down at $4.28, 618 down at about $5. So again, nice little entry on there if you had a limit order. If we just take a look, currently 14% up from that order, so not too bad at all. Again, my important level to hold for NEAR is $3.69. Got fairly close to it last week, but still a well away from it for now. So yeah, get a weekly close back or hold above $5.76, and I think NEAR looks good for another move up. If we take a look at DOT and ROSE now, the weaker of the five, as you can see, DOT actually got a weekly close below that important level for me to hold, which was $7.42. You can see that's a strong level of previous support and resistance. It's not a good look that we close below it. If we can get a weekly close back above $7.42, then I think that looks really good for an entry. You can see we closed below the 786 as well. Tagged the lows that we made in January and zip back up. So really important that we see a weekly candle close back above 742. I think that then is a really good bullish signal. So we'll have to wait and see. If it holds as resistance, then maybe not so much. We finally take a look at ROSE. Again, same scenario. We whipped through the lows of January, but managed to close above them. Did close below the 786 and that important level to hold on the weekly time frame at $10, 10 cents and 70. So really need to see a recovery here, a weekly candle close back above 10 cents, above that psychological level and above that important weekly level. So if we get that, again, looks like a really nice bullish trigger. So they're the levels that I'm looking at. We'll see what happens with Bitcoin for the rest of the week and Ethereum. See if these weekly levels hold. See if we can clear the trouble areas on the daily time frame, and then see if alts can continue to outperform BTC as we've seen over the last couple of days. So hope you enjoyed the video. Drop a like and a subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you on the next video on Friday.